Everybody. Welcome to the July 2010 BizGrow Bizinar. Our topic today is What's Your Message? Now, this question first is, what is a message? Well, simply, it's a compelling reason for a potential customer to contact your business. The message is always written and delivered from your customer's point of view. It needs to be clear and concise. And concise doesn't necessarily mean short, but it definitely means to the point. Obviously, you want to explain what the benefit for the customer is going to be when they contact you. And the message itself is intended to get the customer to actually contact you. The message is never about making a sale. And obviously, the message can be your overall marketing message for the business. It can be your value statement. It can also be a very specific message about something that's going on in a promotion that you're having in the next week or two. The important thing with the message is that if your message is not clear, if it's ineffective, if it doesn't get to the point, any money that you then spend communicating or disseminating that message is just wasted money. So let's talk about the customer's point of view. The customer is no different from any business owner. We walk into a situation, and if we're going to put down money, we want to know what's in it for me. And some people like to call it with them. So the question that you have to answer for them is, what benefit does the customer derive from your business or from doing business with you? For you to figure that out, one of the most effective ways is reflect back on the feedback that you've gotten from customers, good and bad, about your products and services. Especially if you've gotten testimonials in the past, look at the words that they use to describe why they like doing business with you. Because if they're using those words to describe your business, chances are very good that when you use those words to describe your business, you will hit home with potential customers. So the question becomes, you know what you think your services are and what stands out in your mind. But what stands out in the customer's mind? You may be surprised when you ask them that it's completely different from what you think the value of your service is. Very often, you'll find out that from their point of view, the benefit is the effect to your cause. And I'll go into that in the next page a little bit. If you don't have testimonials, if you're not sure really what the customers think, you most likely have customers that are good enough that you can ask them. And next time you go and you're talking to them, or you can call them on the phone and say, we're working on some of our marketing material, and we'd love to hear from you. What benefit do you derive from working with us? There's something else that you can look at which will give you some pretty good hints. Because it's always easier to look at somebody else's marketing and critique it than it is to do it on your own business. So look through some of your competitors' advertising, what they say about their company, their website, and find out if you can simply outmarket them by finding what's in it for me for the customers that they're not talking about. Because that's going to accomplish two things. One, you've written a better message, but now two, because your message is different, and from the customer's point of view, where your competitors may not be, you suddenly stand out, and you're not lumped in with everybody else in your business category. Let's go through a couple examples. So let's look at a car repair shop. From the point of view of the owner, they're going to say, my technicians are highly trained. We've got all of these certifications. We spend 20% of our time doing training. Well, boy, that's great for you, owner. But what does it really mean for the customer? My car gets fixed right the first time, and I don't have to go back. Saying the same thing, but a completely different point of view. Let's take a look at an accountant. Accountants love to say, I deliver personalized service. Well, as a customer reading that on a website, I truly don't know what that means. From my point of view, it turns out that when I call, I get the accountant on the phone. I don't get the receptionist. I don't get the bookkeeper. I get the accountant. That's personalized service. In a flower store, and this is an old example, but very true. The owner of the flower store is going to say, take flowers home to your wife. Well, why? Because when I'm late and I show up with a beautiful bouquet of roses, I may not be out of the doghouse, but I'm definitely not in as much trouble. That's what it takes from the customer's point of view to just flip your message around. Let's talk about being clear and concise. I'm going to do this with an example. First thing to remember is stay away from the jargon, especially if it's industry specific. No acronyms and no 6-syllable words. An example of a bad message would run along the lines of, the long-term intrinsic value of pre-secondary education pupils developing the ability to self-teach complicated curriculum is the enhancement of that pupil's prospects of securing matriculation in the preferred institution of higher learning. And you're going to read 5 words into that and move on to the next paragraph. Really what they meant to say was that high school students who learn how to tutor themselves will excel in high school and have a better chance of getting into the college of their choice. If you are faced with these 2 messages, which one is more likely to cause you to either read on or pick up the phone and call that business and say, I want to enroll my student? This is what I mean by clear and concise, and it's also a good example where it doesn't have to be a very short message, but it does have to get to the main points using the most easily understood language. And the last thing I said was that your message needs to contain the benefit to the customer. And that can be very often the trickiest part of what we're after here. So there's a little trick to figure out what the benefit is, which is ask why 3 times. The idea is to dig deeper and find a benefit that from the customer's point of view, again, is going to really hit home with them. So an example with lawn maintenance, and I love using this one because it was used on me once. Why do you want a lawn maintenance company? Well, then I don't have to cut the lawn. Okay, well, yeah, that's true. But a deeper why is, well, you know, if I don't have to cut the lawn, that just freed up time on my weekends. Okay, so if you start with, I'm going to free up your time on weekends, that's much more appealing and more to the point and takes me closer to the conclusion they want me to reach than you don't have to cut the lawn. That's why once more, now you can take the kids swimming and spend quality time with them rather than sweating it out on the lawn. So the message, you won't have to cut the lawn, compared to free up your weekends and take the kids to the pool, are 2 totally different messages. And if you start with, you're going to hire us because it's going to enable you to spend quality time with your kids, you are more likely to hit home more often on every approach to a customer. Now, I mentioned early on that the purpose of the message is not necessarily to make a sale. Making a sale is most often a 2-step process. So the first step is the message, and what you're trying to do there is raise the interest and have a prospective customer contact you. So the message is, we offer a benefit that you need, so call us, email us, visit the website, fax us, send us smoke signals. I don't care how, but contact us one way or another, because then I'm going into step 2, and I'm going to gain your trust as a prospective customer, and then I'm going to make a sale. If you try to make the sale in your message, you're going to strike out. People are going to read it and move on, because if you throw out 20% discount, and that's your entire message, they're going to flip the page because you haven't given them enough to really act on. So part of the BizGrow model here is that we go through the webinars on the bi-weekly basis, and then the idea is to actually utilize the information in your business and bring it to the next meeting, and there will be a roughly 10-minute session where the whole group is going to talk about what you went over in the Bizinar. So in order for you to be prepared for the next meeting and that session, here's what we would like you to do. Write down your main marketing message and read it to the group. And I say your main marketing message because this is the one that you will use most often at a high level, which contains the primary benefit to the customers. And as I mentioned earlier, you will have a whole set of subordinate marketing messages that support the main one, but you may use them for specific events, specific products, specific services, a different demographic. So you can have sub-marketing messages, but the main marketing message, why does somebody want to deal with your company? And then during the 10-minute session, the members will listen to your message and provide constructive input on how effective they thought your initial message was. And then the greatest part about this is have a conversation with you about, well, gee, maybe if you change these couple words, it would hit home with me because this is how I view this service. So you're going to get a group of your peers providing you input on how to write a message that would hit home with them, and that's going to help you write the message that hits home with all of your clients. And that brings us to the end of the written presentation, and I'm going to now stop the recording so that we can take questions.